Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs. Today what I'm going to do is answer a subscriber's question. I always ask people to put their questions and comments below the video, and I will help you. So here is an actual video where I'm going to answer a question. I thought it was a cool question and it's right up my alley. So instead of just, answering in the comments, I decided I would do this short little video. Let me read the question from Wendy Mercer. She commented, "Hi, I need help on just hemming by hand a pair of wide leg flare jeans, about 2 inches without cutting any fabric and keeping the original hem. Is that possible? I would love for you to do a video." All right, so here you go, Wendy. Let me answer your question. You can, yes, you can. It depends on how much, when you say wide leg that's flared, that's not telling me how much flare there is. So if it's a really dramatic flare, these are a pair of jeans that don't fit me anymore, and they have flare, and it works with this much flare. But if you have a significant amount of flare, this technique may not work, so you'll have to let me know about that. And I'll give you a second option without taking apart the inseam and sort of reducing the flare, because you could take apart the inseam and make the width at the hem a little bit smaller, so this would work. But if you don't want to deconstruct your jeans, there's another option of doing this technique up near your knee. You'd have a line of stitching, let's say just right above your knee or right below your knee. Kind of like if you've seen people wearing um, leather jeans, there's a seam at the knee because most pieces of leather aren't big enough to cut out a whole leg in one piece, so they seam it at the knee. So I'll just show you how you could do this technique that I'm going to show you at the hem up at the knee if you have too much of a difference in flare between the 2 inches you're taking out and then the top of the hem. So let me just show you quickly. The first step is to mark 2 inches above the top of the hem, not 2 inches from the bottom, because remember, part of this technique is we want to keep that original top stitching. So I'm just going to measure 2 inches up, and I'm going to draw a line here. Okay, like this. Pretty straightforward step. All right, so then what I'm going to do to make it easy is I'm going to turn the leg inside out. So I'm just going to get it so it's, so the line is lining up with the fold like this, and then I'm just going to give it a good press. And if you're working with cotton denim, you don't have to worry about wrecking your fabric. You can really press down hard. If you're concerned that you might have some polyester or rayon mixed in with your denim, maybe use a press cloth. So I'm just going to unfold it and refold it this way, just because I want to get a nice crisp crease where I'm going to be, shortening it. Now, if you have a piece of wood or a clapper, I'm going to use my handy dandy Point Perfect mini clapper pressing tool here. I'm just going to, after I remove the iron, I'm just going to put this here and I'm going to trap the heat for a second, and that helps set the crease. So I'm just going to make that nice crease. Okay. All right, so now that I have a nice crease, I'm going to turn the leg right side out again. So what we want to do is we want to take this crease and we want to pin it to the top of the original hem. And this is where we're going to be able to tell if we can do it with the amount of flare in the leg. So let me put a pin here. So first I'll do, okay, so this is the inseam. Okay. Then I'm going to go around to the other side and I'm going to do the side seam. Or maybe this is the side seam actually. So you want those to match up so it visually looks nice and neat like that. So I'm just going to put a pin here. I'm not going to try to pin through that heavy flat felled seam, so I'll put a pin on either side to hold it. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the center front and center back. These particular jeans had sort of a crease down the middle of the leg distressed into it, so I can see that I'm matching that up. But you just want to match it up, you know, so you can see you're folding it down straight. Okay, and then I'm going to pin here. And you want to pin really close to the stitching. Now let's lay it flat and see how it looks. You can see in the case of this pair of jeans, I'll be able to do it because it can lay flat on each other. The difference between the width of the leg here and the width at the top is not too much to do it down here. So again, it's going to depend on how much flare there is. You know, without seeing them, I can't tell you. You know, you could try this. Now I'm just going to use a light blue all-purpose thread. You could use dark blue. I mean, the goal is going to be obviously not to see it. So I'm just going to thread my needle, and you want it to be pretty strong. So I'm actually going to make a double strand. So I'm just going to make a knot. It really doesn't matter where you start. Let's start here. I want to be able to come up right from the inside of the crease like that. So here's my my threads at the top now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go directly next to where I came out, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go under a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to come back up, and then I'm going to go in the fold right above it. All right, and then when you pull it tight, those stitches sort of disappear. I'm going to take out this pin so I don't like kill myself. So now I'm up here, so now I'm going to go down here. And again, I'm just sliding underneath like 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so the trick to this is you really just want to be coming in and out right on top of it. So if I'm right here, then I'm right here. Oops. All right, and I'm just going to go around like this, and this is really just how you do it. This would be nice, nice project, you know, if you're watching TV and you have some downtime. You want to take your time because the neater you are, the less it will show. So I'm just sliding my needle under, you know, inside the fold. And you want to pull it really snug. So in the fold. One tip is don't make your thread that you're working with too long because it can get knotted up. So it's better to work with a shorter thread and have to, you know, rethread than it is to try to make a piece that's so long that you think you're going to make it all the way around in one shot. Okay, so now as I get to my inseam with this bulkiness, you know, I'm just going to do the same thing. Maybe I'll do slightly shorter stitches because it's bulkier here. You want to make sure it holds. I'm going to take this pin out now. All right, so I'm gonna work my way around and then I'll join back with you. But basically, I'm just gonna keep doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Let's see, you can already see how nice that's looking. All right, so you can see I've worked myself around. I'm getting really close to the end. And the nice part about my progress is I don't have any gapping fabric. So I was really careful to make sure that, you know, everything was even to this pin and so on and so forth. Here was um, the inseam we did. Here's the side seam. See how nice that looks? Okay, so now I'm just gonna finish this up. I'm not big for hand stitching, I'll be honest, so the fact that I'm enjoying this tells you it's painless. And it really didn't take me long, probably about 10 minutes to get around. All right, so I'm coming up to my start point, and because I want to make sure that it doesn't come undone, I am just going to stitch past my start point. I'm going to kind of overlap. Now, if your bottom is a little bit wider, the way you can ease that in across the whole hem is to take a slightly larger stitch when you're going across the hem than when you are going on the fold. And that little tiny difference in stitch length will actually gather up or take up the extra ease that's in the bottom. So a little bit longer of a stitch on the bottom, a little bit shorter in the fold, and that will ease in the flare very gradually. The one thing you don't want to do is, I'm here, right? You don't want to reach ahead when you go to the top. You want to make sure you're staying right on top of each other or the stitches will show. You can make them longer or shorter, it's just they have to come in and out right next to each other. All right. All right, so I'm almost there. I am just going to go about 1/4 of an inch past my start point. All right, so look how nice that looks. You can't even see where I stopped and started. All right, so now I'm going to bring this to the inside. Okay, let's take a look and see how the inside of the hem looks. All right, so basically how it looks is you've got that folded, that the amount that we sewed, the 2 inches, is now a folded pleat on the inside of the hem. And what you can do to keep that from falling if you don't want to cut it short is just tack it up in a few places. So I'm just gonna do a knot right here. And I like to do 2 knots. So there was 1 knot, I'm gonna double knot. I always do 2. Okay. And then before I clip it, I'm going to stitch away from my knots. So basically I'm going to bury the tail in there. Okay, so see, then I can cut it right here. All right, so to hold it up, I would just take your, depending on your jeans, you probably just need to tack it up on the sides and the centers. You don't, but see, I can sew these together right here to keep it from flopping down. And I'll do that on the inseam as well. And then I may just take a couple stitches to, at the center front and center back, I'll just catch it in a few stitches. But basically that's how you're going to hold it up. A quick little press here. again, you might want to trap the heat using some sort of clapper. Any piece of wood, if you don't have an official clapper, or again, I'm using my Point Perfect tool here. It just traps the heat. Look how nice that looks. Like, I cannot even tell that I hem that. Honestly, between you and me, I think this comes out better than the sewing machine version of this. Very nice. All right, so if I just want to if your flare is too much for it to lay nicely, you can do the same thing and create a seam up by the knee, you know, and then stitch along, press that and stitch along. So you can do it there if you want to, or your other option would be you'd have to take apart this hem, probably a couple inches on each side, stitch in a little bit deeper on your inseam, and then fold it up and do it. Right, so Wendy, let me know if this works for you. And if you need help with other steps, let me know and I'll help you, or anybody else for that matter. But that's how you would hand stitch a hem in your jeans without cutting anything and keeping the original hem. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing and clicking the little bell so you get notifications when I put a new video up. I have lots of fun things planned for this year, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great day.